Ukraine has made some significant progress in the northern region of Kharkiv since it first launched its long-awaited major counter-offensive earlier this month. And according to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, some 400 cities have been liberated, including strategically important positions such as Izium. Almost the entire territory is not occupied, he said in a speech Thursday morning. It was an unprecedented move of our soldiers. Ukraine has once again succeeded in doing what many thought was impossible. Western defense officials also noted Ukraine's military successes and said some Russian troops were forced to withdraw across their own borders. The manner in which Russian troop withdrawals took place in the last week vary, the British Defense Ministry said in its daily briefing. Some units retreated relatively well and under control, while others fled in panic. The ministry said some high-value equipment had been left behind by Russian troops, who officials said they were taken aback by the Ukrainian counterattack. Reports this week said Ukrainian forces captured or destroyed 100 tanks in 100 hours in the eastward campaign. British defense officials noted that Kyiv had destroyed part of Russia's First Guards tank forces, described as one of the most prestigious Russian armies, allocated to the defense of Moscow. Ukraine's defense ministry on Thursday claimed to have destroyed more than 2,000 tanks, 4,600 armored vehicles, 1,300 artillery missile launchers, and 900 drones since the start of the war. Among the valuables left behind is a critical capability to enable Russia's artillery-centric warfare style, Western defense officials said. At least one counter-battery radar system, known as the Zoopark, and at least one IV-14 artillery command and control vehicle were abandoned by Russian forces. Such neglect highlights the disorganized decline of some Russian units and possible local breakdowns in command and control, the UK Defense Ministry said. One of the reasons for the decline of Russian troops is the ability of Ukraine to defend its airspace. Even a more optimistic assessment assumes that Russia will carry out a significant air campaign to destroy the Ukrainian Air Force at its air bases, coupled with large-scale strikes with cruise and ballistic missiles that blind Ukraine's long-range early warning and ground-to-surface attacks. This would force Ukraine to remove surface-to-air missiles from the front lines and to try and inflict heavy losses on Russian aircraft that penetrate too far. Meanwhile, the defense of Ukrainian frontline units will be largely left to portable air defense systems, manpads, to at least make low-level Russian strikes a dangerous prospect. When the invasion was launched on February 24, a barrage of cruise and ballistic missiles hit Ukrainian air bases, ammunition dumps, and radar stations. However, Russia's expected air superiority campaign failed to materialize. Instead, Russian formations of 1 or 2 planes at a time carried out strikes against targets in and around Ukrainian cities close to the border, including Kyiv, Kharkiv, Sumy, Chernihiv, and Mariupol. Russia's inability to plan and carry out a large and complex airstrike package was one of the country's most significant unexpected weaknesses during this war, and one that largely explains its inability to establish air superiority over Ukraine. The coordination between the various attack elements is complex even before the shooting begins, and once in a battle, each element in the attack pack of the escort fighters. Because Russian pilots are trained almost exclusively to fly in pairs and have little exposure to larger drills, gain relatively little flight time compared to most NATO fighter crews, does not have support from tankers in most operations, and not doctrinally trained for major air campaigns. It is perhaps not surprising to recall that the Russian Aerospace Forces, VKS, proved incapable of conducting a Western-style air war against Ukraine. Even near the front lines, Ukrainian air defenses are starting to take a significant toll on Russian warplanes flying at intermediate levels, and manpads are a constant danger at lower levels. Flying at very low altitudes makes the aircraft difficult to detect and engage with radar-guided SASAMs, but also severely limits the pilot's field of view and makes the aircraft vulnerable to short-range manpads and anti-aircraft fire. Thus, crews of Russian Su-34 fighter bombers trained at night were able to bomb Ukrainian cities near the border at night as manpads operators struggled to locate them. British intelligence on Friday said mercenary groups had been working since at least July to increase Moscow's ranking by heading to Russian prisons to encourage volunteers to leave their cells and head to Ukraine. Prisoners have been offered commutation of their sentences as well as cash incentives, the UK Defence Ministry said in a daily briefing. It has been revived, with the recently posted video most likely showing Wagner owner Yevgeny Prigozhin recruiting into custody.